Well, what brought me to San Bernardino was we moved out here from Colton. My mom bought a house, and I actually ended up going to Royal Valley High School. And I was there for 4 years, and I'm glad that it was an art magnet school, and it was something that I can, try out since it was something I was interested in. And I'm glad that because of it, I'm now here at the Garcia Center teaching ceramics.
Awesome. Do you still live in Colton?
No, we left Colton, and we've been living in San Bernardino for like 20 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you guys?
The work brought me to San Bernardino. I've lived in surrounding communities, but now I'm at the district office in San Bernardino, and I think we'll talk about our roles or whatnot, but basically the work brought me here, and I think the question was what makes it unique, and there's so much that makes it unique, like the size, the people, the history, the culture, the school, it's an infinite world that I've just been so fascinated with and being a part of for these last couple of years. So yeah, the work.
I live in Colton. I did not grow up in Colton. I wound up in San Bernardino, and I was living in New York. I was born and raised in Temple City. But I'd come back for love and for opportunity and to go to school, and I got my my graduate degree at Cal State San Bernardino. And for me, it's been like open arms, and I've been lucky. Like upon graduation, I was hired, and then I was hired again, and then I was hired in other places, and I kept going like, cool, man. Yeah. And I was like, I'm one of my friends, Ali Mendoza, who does ceramics here, she's been pushing this hashtag blossom where you planted, and I'm trying to do that.
That's awesome.
I love that. Blossom where you're planted.
Yeah, that's what I like, yeah.
That's great.
Shout out to Ali Mendoza.
Yeah, that's awesome. I came here too for the work, and it just kind of kept picking up, so I stayed. And feeling super grateful that there is work to be had here, and support and all the things. As for the uniqueness, I guess the people, like I haven't been anywhere else where you feel that support, you feel that camaraderie instantly with community members and students and everybody. It's very special here, so.
Yeah, I think it definitely has a lot of potential, and at first it seems kind of funny, like, people are gonna say what they're gonna say about San Bernardino, but I think it's a great opportunity to stand up for the positive that you see and, give other people the opportunity to see the potential that it has, because it's a lot.
Totally.
I just noticed this giant picture of San Bernardino behind us as I was listening to you all talk. And look at all of that.
Yeah.
Look at all the different resources, the communities, the mountains, the people, the freeways, and then this is pre-freeway, a lot of freeways, it looks like.
Yeah.
But just the sky's the limit.
My name is Margaret Worsley, and I'm principal clarinetist of the San Bernardino Symphony, but I also work at San Bernardino Valley College, full-time there, and then I'm adjunct at Cal State San Bernardino, and it's just music all the way. What about you, Lucy?
My name is J Sunga. I am the ceramics instructor at the Garcia Center for the Arts. And I currently was appointed as the Arts and Historical Preservation Commissioner for the 6th Ward. And yeah, that's my title for now.
Awesome title.
I'm Scott Nelson. I'm the Coordinator of Visual and Performing Arts for the San Bernardino City Unified School District, a role I've held for the last 3.5 years, which is amazing because that just flew by. Before that, I was a high school band director for 17.5 years in surrounding communities, and then was a high school vice principal for 2 years. So what was cool about, back to what brought us here, is for me to be able to combine my leadership interests, the vice principal chair, with the arts. It has just been a dream come true. And my father-in-law used to live here before he passed. And every time I would drive around his neighborhood, it'd be like an elementary school. I'm like, how many elementary schools does this community have? And now I'm the guy who staffs the music teachers for all those elementary schools. So it's absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
Right. I'm Andrew K Thompson. I'm an adjunct professor at Cal State San Bernardino, Chaffey College, and the University of Laverne. I'm also a co-founder of the Little Gallery in downtown San Bernardino with my friend Eric Savine. And I do other things. I'm constantly busy causing trouble.
You do lots of things.
I do lots of things. I'm kind of like ADD.
That's,
You know
that's
what I'm
good.
saying?
What kinds of other things do you do?
Gosh, I mean, I'm known for sewing pictures. So I'm a sewn photographic artist. I run a darkroom at Cal State San Bernardino. I've been currently melting cameras, which has gone viral. I've got over 1 million hits on.
You're melting the camera?
Yeah, well, okay, fun fact.
Yeah, because we got a couple right here.
Yeah, well, we can do it. So fun fact is, you can mix plants. Plants have this chemical called phenol. You can mix that with vitamin C and washing soda and develop photo paper and film. And, I pay attention to online stuff, and I'm kind of a geek like this. And so I found that out, but because I'm also, I don't know how to say it, troublemaker, like defiant, dissident. Instigator. I had, it's kind of a long story. I don't want to waste up all this time, but I had this flash of watching a camera melt, and I figured out that you can't freeze photo developer. It gets slushy. And but I've been hearing about this caffeinol, which is coffee, vitamin C, washing soda, and then it ends up to a larger umbrella. But you can mix these concoctions, and I figured coffee would freeze. So I got a silicone mold. I figured out how to make like a mold out of silicone 1 and orange soap, like citrus soap you get at Home Depot. Full, you know what I'm saying? The hardware stores, the art supply. Yeah. No, I have our friends of mine in New York would used to say, if it looks like art, it's trash, and if it looks like trash, it's art. So we went to Home Depot. We got the supplies and made this silicone mold. And I figured coffee would freeze. Guess what? It froze. And I had an ice cube camera. I was like, I have just given birth to an aberration.
It's art.
And it's art, yeah. And people are like, why? I was like, don't ask why, except specific questions, you know what I'm saying? And when we were talking in the waiting room, it's like everything I'm doing in terms of like melting the cameras are like right on above the board. It's like really straightforward. Mm-hmm. But because it's so odd and unusual, people are like, why? Why? Go away. Ask how. Ask how come. Ask what if. Mm-hmm. As I told you before, everything that I do starts with what if, or wouldn't it be cool if?
Wouldn't it be cool if?
That's your next hashtag.
Wouldn't it be cool if?
Yeah. I love it. So now you're melting cameras,
Melting
right?
cameras. It's a year project.
Year-long project.
Yeah, and it's on Twitter. So TikTok, because I'm like an old person trying to be young. Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, but nobody follows me on YouTube currently.
I want to follow you.
Yeah, well, I don't even know how to I think it might be YouTube / melting cameras, but
You don't know your name?
It's definitely melting cameras, but I don't know
That's a good start.
Yeah, it's definitely at melting cameras, everybody. At melting cameras,
we'll
across platform.
Okay.
But yeah, but when you get to YouTube, because I'm kind of a numbskull with YouTube, I don't know that. Is it just youtube.com/melting cameras? And if so, everybody follow me. If it's not that, I gotta figure out what the handle is. What's the most direct link to?
Yeah. You could get another tattoo that just says it.
Yeah, well, I started getting tattoos before I saw Memento.
Oh,
yes. And if anybody knows me, I think I can even pull this out. Anybody who knows me well enough knows that I have notes
my goodness.
everywhere.
Careful, this is on camera. We can steal your identity.
No, this is not my identity.
Okay.
But here's the best one. Can you see that
Socialism?
one?
Spam?
Oh. Like the
What do you think I'm going to be
product?
melting soon?
Oh, wow.
I hope this, I assume this will broadcast afterwards, but I'm planning on doing spam cam.
Are we hearing it first?
Wow.
Breaking news.
How far into this year-long project are you?
June 15th will be the middle point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and now I'm jumping the shark. So I'm doing spam cam, I'm doing Pop-Tarts.
Is that a metaphor?
Yeah, basically. I'm doing Pop-Tarts, and then I'm doing the Taco Bell Crunchy Taco. get on the hashtag trends and just do stupid stuff because
It's fun.
why not? Wouldn't it be cool if
Yeah, Jump the Shark. Isn't that from Happy Days?
Happy Days full? Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, where they ran out of material, and so they literally got on a shark and jumped the shark.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
that was a metaphor
Fonzie.
for-
Hey,
Fonzie, yeah. And so now it's like, it's going crazy. We're jumping the shark.
Jumping the shark. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited for that. That'll be
Thank you.
awesome.
I
And I'm going to
appreciate
start
it.
following you now, so that'll be great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
TikTok
very
and
much.
everything.
I know.
That was a good time because there was a plant, like a gnat on my nose.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm about to give it a word.
The
Leave me
gnat?
alone. Yeah.
Oh. Does it start with an A and end with hole?
Let me be.
I guess we'll start. I've been really lucky. I've had nothing but good experience and good luck. It is how do I say this? It's here in San Bernardino, but it's kind of like throughout America. There's not a lot of support for the arts because hell, anybody can do it, right? Except for everything starts with the arts.
Mhm.
You need logos, good ideas, and
Mhm.
bean counters don't come up with good ideas.
Mhm.
The school, I mean, I don't want to get into the minutia of like different school politics because I don't think that's really the issue. But I guess what's interesting to me is most people have the urge to be an artist without really knowing what it means to be an artist and what it takes to be an artist.
Mhm.
And I'll put it there. Yeah, I can expand, but later.
I'd agree with you on that. Of there's a disconnect of knowing the potential, and we talked about potential earlier. Of having students who can become very great musicians, and they didn't even know it. And so that's kind of been, not a blessing and a curse, but like a really interesting scenario where these opportunities hadn't been presented up to that point in educating in the arts, or there was this unfound talent or gift or interest or whatever, and you stumble upon it, you foster it, it thrives in the arts education here in San Bernardino, and it's I think really fulfilling for that found. It's like we're treasure hunters, we're finding these things in people. And watching that bloom happen.
I mean, yeah, I can name, we have a space between us right here, and Juan Carlo and James Daly were students of mine, and Tammy Cedres, and watching those two bloom, it's exciting, and I'll just leave it there. It's really exciting to watch people kind of grab onto this and really run with it.
And Scott, you get to hire these educators. That's got to be super fulfilling to play that role of admin and seeking potential.
Yeah, I think it's huge. And back to the question of of teaching and working here is, I think it starts with your mindset, right? Having a growth mindset where every person, and I would slightly push back on the finding the treasure. I think it's about building skills, right? It's about this is how you hold the clarinet. This is how you make the seam. This is how you hold the brush. This is like that. That's not natural. Like it's either in you or not. I think what is in you or not is the motivation part. Is like figuring out like, I want to do this. I mean, we're in a room with a bunch of young people who have found their love of film and storytelling. And so somewhere, along their
what
journey.
People? We're here by ourselves at a table.
I know, we're by ourselves, Meg. But all of these people, found this, right? And so I'll tell you a story about our last year, because the school district has been closed down for in-person instruction this whole time. So March 16th or whatever, 2020, was that when this all started?
Yeah.
We have not been back in schools. And yet we've been able to create art. We've done 3D, we've done, virtual concerts, we've done all these things. And the stories that our kids tell, I had to go to the porch, because my dad was sleeping because he works graves, and like just the so much, as I'm, playing my clarinet in my, home, I just have screaming children to deal with, but there's my own biological children. But the things that our kids can go through here, to me, takes the skills and the motivation to bring that talent out. So that's been the exciting thing for me. And so what my role as an arts administrator is, I want to replicate it. I just want more of it. We had one girl who went through our program, and she was in all state, all Southern, all county every single year since middle school.
What does that mean for people who don't know?
So they, honor bands, honor orchestras, where you try out in front of some judges and you're selected, then you spend a weekend together and do a big concert. Thank you. And so, but I don't want her to be the unicorn. I want to have a whole stable of amazing people just like her, so that it's not just the one person, like, oh, there she goes. It's like, no. There's a dozen more after her. That's what excites me and gets me up in the morning to come and do the work.
That's so cool. A stable of unicorns.
There's another one. There it is.
That's great. So what about you, Lucy? Because you are in the community, in the thick of it. What's that experience
I've
like?
actually had a lot of experience working in different communities, like, in Riverside, in Fontana, and in San Bernardino. And I think I like the community-based learning and teaching because it's not like so stressful as like sometimes academia can be. I graduated from Cal State San Bernardino, and I had a hard time academically. Like, it was challenging for me, but I liked the setting of community-based teaching and learning, and it just being like not stressful, and just learning and exploring of the potential of, okay, we're gonna make this project, and then everybody made 5 different pieces, So I think that's what gets me motivated to keep thinking of like, okay, what is something that we can explore for the next session of classes? And since I'm in the community, I think it's really exciting to see, fellow alumni from Arroyo Valley or from Cal State San Bernardino join the class, because it's, like I said, I don't want it to be a stressful environment. I want it to be where we're all learning together. And whatever knowledge I have, I want to extend that to someone else that might spark their interest into, maybe I want to explore this for like the rest of the year, or, maybe I'm going to try something else. And it makes me happy to have students and, hey, Lucy, where can I get a kiln? Or Lucy, where can I get a wheel? Or where can I get these tools? And I can tell them like, you know what, you can go to this place, or you can go to this place, and be honest to them about it, because maybe it's their first time figuring those things out.
Yeah, I love that. Like the connections too, where you are referring to vendors that are local and for art supplies or people. Like, I love when I have couples in my ensembles, like a husband and wife, like, let's do band again. And they'll like play their instruments together, or families that are in the, throughout the band or whatever. And it's this connecting thing that can happen. We're so lucky to be in a genre like the arts where we are connectors. We're doing that within 4 people.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Meg, if you like what Lucy's describing, is just like literally showing up and teaching and then going home. And I think back to the systems that we, and if you're in higher ed as well, paperwork and web, all that kind of stuff that we make it so complicated sometimes. And like, how do you just boil it down to getting an expert together with some learners and just, do that?
If you are interested, because this might be controversial, but like, I don't think that you need a degree to be an artist.
Agreed.
I think you just need to have the motivation to be an artist. The degree helps socially lubricate, situations.
There's a networking advantage there, I guess.
Yeah, and it gets you through doors. And me personally, I'm one of those. I used to work as a doorman, at a nightclub as a bouncer. So in a way, I see myself as a doorman, where I just keep the door open and make sure that everybody else gets through.
Love it.
I
love it.
But the connections, and that's why it's like we're hubs, and we're throwing spokes out to other folks and kind of make, what I love about this, it's a city and also a town. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a town in the sense that we can all kind of like connect and feel like a townly pride instead of like this separation that a city brings.
I think that's
Totally
kind of
agree.
common in education. I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but you have your classroom, literally, floor, door, wall, ceiling, and so much of that information, that knowledge, it just stays in that classroom with that person. And the connecting part, that's I think our challenge is not just because the next level to what Lucy's doing is then bringing in her friend and then bringing in this person, so that it's not just Lucy's secret knowledge of 3D and the interested people who show up, but how do we extend it? I think that's a challenge for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want to use my bumper sticker, which is like I think our knowledge is for sharing, and then I learned this in New York. I picked up this philosophy where it's like each one teach one. In that way, the knowledge isn't to be held as like some sort of secret. It's to be like spread across, and if anything, it's like the seeds that you plant is the wealth that comes back to you.
The one I heard was learn a job, do a job, teach a job.
Yeah, I love that.
I like that. Yeah, same concept.
Yeah, I might take that.
Take it. It's yours.
My mom actually told me a few days ago that, whatever knowledge you have, holding onto it is very obviously greedy. And it's, along the lines of what you said, that, if you spread that knowledge or share that with others, like, then more of an abundance will come from it,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sharing is caring.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the education thing, is where you teach and your influence goes on for generations, done well and properly.
That's so weird. So
Yeah, I'm
weird to
afraid
think
of
about.
any of my influence.
You're afraid of your influence.
That's a bad idea. Don't follow me.
Okay.
Perfect. Take us off.
It's a lot of pressure.
I know, you got this.
Repeat the
stuff.
question.
So one of the resources that we have here in the city of San Bernardino is thankfully the Garcia Center for the Arts. I've been teaching since 2019, and it's been really great to personally meet new people in the community, to socialize and to help others learn a new skill that maybe they let go of for a while or that they've gained an interest in. But there's a lot of community resources. We just have to look for them, or ask people, what can I do, or where can I go?
Can I ask you? So this is not a city. This is a private. So
It's like a
for people who
nonprofit
don't know anything about San Bernardino, like when I showed up here for the first time, I was like, "What is this amazing little jewel place?" So can you tell the people at home?
Yeah, so I'll
what
tell you
is
the
this
best
place?
that I can. But the Garcia Center for the Arts is essentially a historic building in San Bernardino. It's off of 11th Street and East Street. And when you drive by, you think like, what's going on in there? Because it looks very unique to its surroundings, definitely. But we have a lot of, we want to start up, a lot of other classes to offer to the community. And we want to have it to be accessible. We don't want it to be like, oh man, it's so expensive, I can't do it. We want it to be accessible to the community for people that are interested. So that's our main goal, is to, whoever's interested can come and check it out. We have materials here for printmaking, for painting, for ceramics. We have 2 kilns running right now. And we're hoping to be able to offer community firings in the future. So,
Define kiln and firing.
What was that?
What is a kiln and what is
So
firing?
a kiln is basically an oven for ceramics. And the firing it has to go through 2 firings. The first one is a bisque to make sure that all the water is out of the pot. And then the second part is the decorative part, which is the glaze firing. So that's what, we want to offer that to the community. And like I said, hopefully in the future or soon, we'll be able to launch that.
I love that, because a kiln is so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just have one at your house.
Yeah.
So unless you're a student at an institution that happens to have one of these huge machines, and the Garcia Center has one or 2.
Yeah, and so the great part is that it's loaned. My high school teacher came across it and brought it here so that we could use it. And so it's, like you said, it's hard to access something like that. And, thankfully we have these things because, the majority of the materials we have, they have been donated from the community, people that have, picked up art and retired, or whatever the case may be. But it really is a community effort, and you just have to look, and like I said, try to see what you can do and, take part.
awesome.
Maggie, do you want to talk about the local music scene?
Sure. Yeah. No. Talk about resources. At San Bernardino Valley College, we have programs, music programs that students can enroll in, community members can enroll in, and it's awesome. And I love how community based it is. It really is community college. So if you play a musical instrument, or used to play a musical instrument, or want to play a musical instrument, we've got resources and musical outlets for you. Whether that's playing in the community band, which is awesome. We've actually, because of the pandemic, we've been out for a year. So crawling out of this pandemic is going to be interesting to see what performances look like, what ensembles look like. But it's really uniting for that reason. But we've also got piano classes and guitar classes and voice classes. And
when do those meet typically? Like what hours of the day?
Good question. They're all over the map, whether it's piano, guitar, or whatever. I'm just going to plug my own stuff shamelessly because I conduct the band. And so if people are interested in joining the community concert band, then we usually meet Monday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. So, and yeah, talk about equipment that, if you don't have a trumpet or if you don't have a flute at home or, tubas are so expensive, we have that. Like it's one of the perks, I guess, of institutional art, of which, we have to navigate as well. Nonprofit centers are fantastic for this reason, but we can afford to write the grants to get the money, to get the supplies, to get the equipment coming in, and we want to share it. We want community members to use it. Yeah. So, it's.
What about the symphony?
Awesome. What about the symphony?
Do they have like regular concerts that people could go to?
Yeah, absolutely. We're starting back up to be in person for in-person performances in October. And Maestro Anthony Parnther has been just phenomenal and innovative through this whole thing. We are one of the only orchestras, I think, in the country that has been able to stream our concerts for our audience, and it's been an incredible experience to be a part of all of that.
And they were really, really good.
Yeah,
like they were surprisingly just creative and thoughtful. And I put it on. I think it's going to be a virtual. No, like it was a thing, and they had dancers and interviews, and the space was another interesting space. Was not a concert hall. It was some sort of interesting studio thing.
Yeah,
and it was just so neat.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because we had some of it was filmed out in Hollywood in the studios, because quite a few of our string subs and string section are playing in the studios. So for all the film soundtracks and everything that you listen to, it's very many of those same musicians play in the San Bernardino Symphony, so they're incredible. But we used some of that studio space. We used part of the space at San Bernardino Valley College, our big, beautiful auditorium, which is just, it was a WPA building and Spanish style ceilings, and it's just a gorgeous space. So being in places like that in San Bernardino was just really fantastic to highlight. So yeah, no, they're musical resources. San Bernardino is lousy with musical resources. It's awesome. Lousy in a good way. But yeah, and we've got exhibit resources too.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I also want to shout out the Garcia Center, because I think that they're making big moves. They're in the process of making bigger moves. So I'm really, everybody needs to come and visit and support the Garcia Center. Excuse me, but then, there's this, what is it called? Like enthusiasm downtown for the visual arts. And, the Little Gallery is one of them, of course. There's going to be a brand new space opening up called All Eyes on Me Studios, which is on E Street, in between 4th and Court. And then there's the 320 building, Enterprise building, and what they've been doing. And then the Relicore folks have been very supportive of the arts as well, with the living wall and the murals and such. So that's exciting to see too. There's a lot of good resources here in San Bernardino. I could also be critical of what we don't have.
Mhm.
And if I don't know if that's another part of the question, or another question that we have, but there are some criticisms that we do need.
Mhm.
Like we need better art supply stores, and I'm sad to see
Yeah.
Bud go. You know, we need more funding. You know, it for me, it's always like I feel a tinge of jealousy whenever I go to LA and I see my friends who are like, you know, you get the cola at the Barnsdall, you get the Made in LA, you get all this like funding, all you know, the CAC funds LA County it's like they're like I don't want to say anything derogatory.
The favorite child.
Yeah, their favorite child. I'll put it like that's a better way to say it. Their favorite child. Yeah, and that's a little frustrating because again, we're like sitting on a gold mine and we just need more shovels.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I recently with my family, when we go out to places and it's like LA or Long Beach, we're like, okay, there's murals everywhere. That's great. Why can't we have more color in our city? You know, like I said, it has a lot of potential, and you know, we shouldn't see art as a luxury. Like we all are deserving of seeing beautiful things and seeing what other people are creating. So why aren't we getting as much money?
yeah, art's not a luxury. It's a way of life.
Yeah.
And it's a way of identifying and celebrating.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And most of all, I think to celebrate humanity and who we are and our identities.
Yeah.
You know, it just
It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in on the school district side of resources, where we have tremendous resources. Kids can take music, they can take art. We have some dance available. Every high school has a good theater or will have a good theater in short order because we're doing lots of construction projects. So the potential is huge. But I think that one of the biggest problems is our connection. There's so and it's because of this. It's so huge meeting people. Like I didn't know we had an art store in town because I'm not from this city and no one told me. And because if someone had told me, that could have been a connection where we could have done something there. We could have had that. You know, that's what we need. Is we need to keep, you know, it's things like this. Like, you know, I get an email, hey, want to show up and do this thing on a Sunday? Sure, I don't know where I'm going, but let's do this. But, you know, I'm going to meet some new friends and find out some new things. That's going to help moving us forward.
Yeah.
That's because like in LA, they've been at it for, you know, a couple, I don't want to do bad history here, but they've been doing it for a long time with Hollywood in its background. So we, you know, what are the things that we need, and we should probably like pick at the top one or two and go, that's it. You know, it's local merchants, or it's local, you know, murals or whatever. The city does a great art. Was it called Arts Walk? Arts Fest. Arts Fest. That one. And so I have found an unlimited amount of connection. I just found out that Cal State had a museum. I didn't know that.
The biggest secret.
I didn't know that until a month ago. And it was because they were doing this big Egyptian summer camp virtual thing. So hey, let's partner with the school district. You know, so and some of that's on me for getting out there, but that's that connection part where just sharing and spreading the things that are going to matter in the end. You know, money, people, places, things. You know.
Are there any challenges providing art programs in San Bernardino? And if so, how can we overcome them?
I'll repeat that. Are there any challenges in providing art programming in San Bernardino? And if so, how do we overcome it?
You're just going to repeat the question and not answer it?
Yeah, well, I got plenty to say. I was just being.
You want to be saved for.
I'll get it started.
I'll happily jump in, but you go ahead.
So I think, you know, there are challenges anywhere with arts programming. It's no problems are unique to San Bernardino as far as resources and all that. And so when we were answering the last question, I mentioned the connection part. So I think that's in a space as big as this, and I'm talking about the picture behind us, is meeting people, connecting, and picking priorities to focus on. Because I think that's in my combined worlds of art and leadership, sometimes the art community isn't able to focus and narrow things down. We want this.
Yeah.
And decision makers oftentimes just, like, what is the specific problem? I was even on a webinar, a Zoom call thing a month ago, and someone was complaining, I'm just not getting any support. And so I, said, well, what's the problem? And the person went on a 5-minute, I couldn't find the problem. Like, so is it, not enough classes, not enough rooms, not enough money for what? Money for facilities, money for people, money for benefits. None of those are unique to San Bernardino. Those are just, it's about focusing and having priorities. And I think that it's about people championing their one thing. And that's how we can continue to build, because the resources here are amazing. It's just pooling it and putting it in the right direction, in the right spaces. I don't know, that's my start.
I'll jump in on that to piggyback on what you said about picking priorities, because I think that one of our biggest challenges is competing with the internet.
Especially this year.
Well, yeah. And, you can jump on that wagon with TikTok or all of the other platforms that we have. But when it comes to the aesthetic of art, music, theater, dance, everything, it's tactile, it's hands-on. And, using the term, picking your priorities, we are competing with that. So students, whether they're students or just people, community members in general, they can choose to, get dressed,
Step one.
Yeah, get out the door, drag their guitar out and have this experience with others. Or you can just play video games, or you can watch YouTube performance on, the internet. I feel like it is a challenge. We are competing with it. I'll just say that I think we're competing with it. We can jump on that bandwagon, and many of us do, and many of us have, and we'll continue to just like navigate that cyber world. But I do see that as a huge challenge, not just in the doing of the art and the creativity, but in the marketing, trying to catch up and reach people who only receive information one way. And those silos are becoming even farther apart, I think. So it's a huge challenge to try and compete with the internet.
When I said, especially this year, because we taught online all year long, and that was exactly what I told the teachers on our team. Was I said, they don't have to go, to the laptop and hit the power button. Like, they have to. Yes, they do, whatever, but they have to want to go to turn on the laptop to go to school. So I said, you're literally competing against. I don't really know what a YouTube celebrity is, but you're literally competing with that, like the screen. Like, they need to choose your music class online, as opposed to, and I have a 7-year-old who was in the first grade, and of course he wants to go watch Nerf gun videos and stupid, silly 7-year-old stuff. But that's it was direct. Usually the competition literally in the exact space, but it was this year. And how we come out of that is huge, because we got to get big and exciting and show up, be a part of this.
I think you just hit the nail on the head with the solution for that. Show up.
Right.
Just show up. But you have other challenges you were going to
I do
mention.
have other challenges. And Scott, you touched on it in the sense that, like, the connecting ability, because I think there are concrete issues. Like, we were talking about where the freeway is, and not that I'm a historian, but as I've been here, I've been listening how the city was divided by those freeways. And so we essentially have a divided city. And, like, I know downtown, we're not just the little gallery, but everybody down there, Creative Grounds, Viva La Boba, 320, we're all trying to, like, instead of trying to do our own little pockets,
district,
actually bring us all together. We be like Voltron, like the Wu-Tang Clan, just kind of like all come together and be like stronger.
A team of 10.
A team of 10, exactly. And so what you're saying about the connectingness, like not knowing that the RAFMA has been up there for however long, right? And
can you tell us what that is again?
Oh, Robert and Francis Fullerton Museum of Art has I think the largest collection of Egyptian artwork this side of the Mississippi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's huge. And it also has contemporary art. I did an exhibition there. They have a really creepy mask. I'll tell you about it off camera because
you, maybe.
yeah, well, I'll tell everybody else. But like, I don't know if Rathma wants like their ghost mask like blasted,
revealed.
but it's
Okay.
cool.
Hashtag ghost mask.
Hashtag ghost mask at Rathma.
Okay. So you were talking about people don't know about these things.
Yeah, people don't know about these things, and I think that even at some of the schools, I see like there's like a divide between like the business people don't know that there's a museum on campus, and like it's like all these different kingdoms, and we're all kind of like, I like to think of it as if all these little divided sections are like a coral reef, and the time that we're dealing with, the pandemic, all this tragedy, and whatever else that happens to us is the waves that keeps crashing upon us, right? And it's like, it seems to me that more people are worrying about their kingdoms than worrying about the whole ecology of the coral reef. And to piggyback on what you said, but also to kind of like use downtown as a model, hopefully, where we collectively identify this is what we can use. First of all, we need more funding. Second of all, we need more free or available, accessible art things for people to do of all ages, from children up. And then hopefully adopt a stance that art is good and art should be valued and invested in, and art serves a good purpose. Again, as we said, as therapy, as identity, as maybe for luxury, But yeah, I think that's one of the. I'll stop there. I'll stop there as my mic falls.
No, I love the way that you said that. Talking about this coral reef, and we're only worrying about what's in our pocket or our backyard, but we don't think about how it affects everything around us. And it kind of made me think of how in high school, for example, I focused on my art. I was going through other things in life as a teenager, but that's what kept me focused on like, I have all this stuff going on, but this is therapy for me. This is what keeps me from maybe acting out or, being mean to someone right now because I'm just really going through something. But art really is a therapy. It is something that when it was hard for me to start classes back up at the Garcia Center, I was teaching in person. And then when things got really like, a little bit more intense, I had to wrap my head around like, Lucy, you're going to have to teach online eventually. And this is when like 6 months, teachers already teaching online. And I just was kind of scared of that. Like, how am I going to do it? How am I going to pull this off? Where am I going to make this happen? And, I'm teaching hand building. We're not doing pottery, like wheel throwing. So I was like, I have to make kits. I have to get this done. And it just seemed very overwhelming for me. And as a parent, I was like, where do I get started? And I think I was thinking like, I really need to teach again. And I really need to take a break from my life or what I'm doing, for a week. And so I had to I guess that motivated me to like, what, this day on this week, you're going to go to this place and you're going to start getting tools. The next day you're going to get clay. The next day you're going to start looking at lesson plans and like what kind of projects you want to teach. And on this day, you're going to, create a flyer so that the community can know that you're teaching classes again. And so it took a lot of like, okay, I was wanting to do this at this time. It didn't happen. And I think, it kind of going along longer than I thought it was just like, all right, Lucy, no excuses, get your act together and do the best that you can. And now that I'm teaching online, I'm learning a lot. There's a lot of things that I'm like still feeling nervous about. But I miss the in-person teaching, and I don't know when we're going to get to that point, but,
soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been hard because I think the one thing that I also was thinking is like, what if people don't have a laptop to do Zoom? What if they don't have resources. So whoever I have is people that have a printer, people that have a computer at home, people that have internet, you know. And I'm happy to teach, but everyone in the community. But what if there's somebody else that really, really needs that therapy or that, you know, one-on-one time, or, you know?
This pandemic has super exposed the disparity.
Yeah.
And we feel that with our students, who is showing up because they can, because they have a computer and internet, and those who are gone. They're just not there. And it breaks my heart because that gap is getting wider now.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe art will be not just helpful as we crawl out of the pandemic, but absolutely necessary. We just need that. One of the things that we haven't, and no one is here from like the culinary arts, but I would love, and I know you guys would be on this bandwagon too, to have some foodie situations in downtown San Bernardino. Like we've got Viva La Boba, which I freaking love and go there all the time, constantly or whatever. And, you know, when we have our rehearsals at the California Theater, which is just down the street, I'm like, hey guys, let's go. You know,
have you tried the taco shop around the corner on Court?
Yes.
Yes.
And King Kebab, King Kebab.
Yeah, over across the street.
And Molly's. I know, but like, you know, there's all these gorgeous historic buildings down there, and
we
like,
need more food.
Let's get art food going on, guys. Like, I don't know. So.
What type of art events, programs, or resources would you like to see more of in San Bernardino?
Oh, I ruined it with the last one. Just repeat
Do it again, yeah. What does it start with, Maggie?
An F and ends with ood. What type of art events, programs, resources do we want to see? I'd love to see more public concerts.
Yeah.
And just that is something that I can help with and help contribute to, and we can rally the troops and get those happening. Public concerts are fantastic because they bring people together, not just the performers, but the audience, community. We've got some lovely, lovely public spaces here in San Bernardino. So to get those occupied with picnic baskets and lawn chairs, motorcycles, and I just think that would be super awesome. Also, I mentioned it earlier, but food. Let's program food in San Bernardino. I will eat that food. So that's, I think
which spaces would you like to see? I mean, which public spaces? Like I've just found, is it the Court Square?
Yeah, they're doing SB Food Fest is supposed to be coming back soon.
Awesome.
Yep.
I got to follow them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Paris Park over on
Highland?
Highland, yes, thank you. Dude, we could even play in a cemetery. Like, I'm not above that.
Romantic.
Yeah, it's creepy, but they do it at Forever Hollywood, the cemetery up there, like Dia de los Muertos thing is huge and epic and awesome out there. Why not try it here in San Bernardino? Like, that would be so awesome.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned like concerts and stuff. I was actually talking to Jorge and was saying like it would be cool to have a stage here. And the good thing about social media is that you're exposed to good things and bad things. But the good thing that I took from this is, as a mother of two, I think of like family-oriented things and like, wouldn't that be cool to have kids outside like dancing and being happy and, being themselves and embracing them, listening to music, I think that would be great. So yeah, I mean, there's so much that can be done. But
yeah, music is huge. What about in the world of pottery?
I've been wanting to, and I'm trying to still figure out the logistics of, having free classes to the community, like parent and me classes or something where it's one-on-one. And I feel like, every family dynamic is definitely different, but I'd like to touch bases on, what is family? What does it mean? It looks different for everyone. And I think the more we expose our children to how families can look different, especially with my daughter and my son, it's just the easier it'll be for them to be like, this is normal and this is okay. And,
it's beautiful. I love that. What about you, Andrew?
Well, I mean, in a way, what we're seeing is what I want to see is already in the works. The little gallery is returning to our last Saturdays, 4 to 9 for openings and closings and receptions and such. We will most likely be doing a lot of partnering with All Eyes on Me because we're buddies, and Creative Grounds. Hopefully, we'll do more collaboration with them. And I'd have to check my phone to check the date, but there is an art walk that's going to be like a downtown art walk where it's 320, All Eyes on Me, Viva La Boba, Creative Grounds. I think they're calling it Soul Alley. Little gallery, and they're going to have like musicians, and you know what I'm saying. So in that sense, like we're doing what we want to see. What I really want to see is more funding, because to do programs, to do events it's kind of easy because we're creative people. We're just like, you know what we need? Let's do this. But it usually comes down to like, oh, where's the place? Where's the funding? Where's the outreach? How are we going to get the people to come? And then once they've come, how are we going to get them to kind of continue the practice, right?
Yeah.
And that, again, I think we need more investment, and we could look to the city, but I think sometimes it's better that we look to ourselves, and maybe there's some sponsors that we don't know exist, some angels. And hopefully they're angel investors that might not create some sort of conflict or contrast in our standards, what we believe in. If you go to the gallery, you can see that we have a current show up right now that's a little critical towards the warehouses and Amazon and those sorts of things. And if they're going to be using our areas, they should be investing in us too.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And at the same time, I don't know that like we would want to be shills for corporations that we don't. Anyway, so it's
Tricky.
touchy. It's
That's
tricky.
tricky.
It's tricky. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see more food. I'd like to see more food trucks. I'd like to see more art walks. I'd like to see more free and accessible art classes for people whose art I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue tied, but like there's some people that art can drastically change their lives. Give them an outlet that shows them a way through the struggles that they might be facing. That if they didn't have it, didn't know that it was a possibility, it would just be in a cycle that continues to be negative. So I want to see all of that, but it's still a lot of it comes down to who's funding this. I work 4 jobs to fund the little gallery, and and the city,
And it's still a hustle.
and it's still a hustle. Yeah, the city, the above the city program, like whether it was city, state, federal, all those county, city, county, federal, all those people should be investing more into arts and culture into this city and less into warehouses and all this logistics that we serve the world.
Yeah, and now is the time, given the history. I mean, talk about beautiful infrastructure of this place. I mean, it's got a long history of thriving economy and commerce and people coming in and out with an international airport and train systems, and all of this is here for a reason. And then as the steel mills leave and March Air Force or things go away, and it feels a lot like Detroit did in the 90s. But at the same time, we've got not this savior, but we do have these warehouses that are here that are stimulating. But what are they giving back? And how can we hold them accountable to the arts, to creativity, to education? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. To
I also
hold
want to
their feet
add
to the
on
fire.
health.
Health.
The air quality,
Yeah.
you know, the freeways, you know, people's like big rigs running through their front yards.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because we've talked about places like LA. I studied in Canada for a few years, and the arts up there is subsidized. They give artists money.
Canada's wonderful.
It's so nice, guys.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Were you in Montreal or
I was in
English speaking?
Toronto, which is like a clean New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all of the symphonies in that country are sponsored by the government, and I don't want to get like political or anything, but it helps a lot
It totally helps.
when it's
Yeah.
part of the infrastructure, I should say, when it's part of the system. It's like systemic art.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Because things happen and they're supported and they're advertised and it's this beautiful ripple effect of creativity that ends up happening with those fiscal resources that are put into it.
Yeah. I feel, and this is kind of a funny metaphor, but I feel like America thinks that if you're going to lose weight, you just have to eat French fries at McDonald's and not everything else. Right? Like they're not willing to like look at the problem holistically. We need art. We need education, we need business, we also need politics, we also need, you know, other securities. And someplace, you know, we've had artists come from Montreal because I've got friends in Montreal that, man, they got paid to come out here. They did interviews in Canada, like putting over San Bernardino, like as the spot to be at, Hot dog, you know what I'm saying? Like we're making international connections and they're getting paid. We're like still like hoping to get our rent paid next month.
True, yeah, it's tough. It's just different.
Yeah, it really shows, like you had mentioned, you know, investing in art is important to us as educators. Because if we're not investing in the arts, what is that going to say for the creatives that are in our community 10 years from now? If we're like trying to find funding, how much difficult is it going to be for them to be able to do that later?
We can name famous people from San Bernardino that had to leave.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's very common. Like I graduated from Cal State and I stayed here, and I've had friends that have gone to Santa Monica, have gone to like other cities because they could not find work here. And you don't know how frustrating that is as a graduate. And I'm very hopeful with what I'm seeing now that people are like, you know what, I didn't find a job, so I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to do this. And it's great to see that growing, but it is frustrating that there are no opportunities and that friends, people that are talented and know what they're doing are leaving because there aren't those opportunities here.
Yeah, and to put over Garcia Center, another reason why, because like everybody's getting a chance to learn and you know, this is one of the reasons why Eric and I started the little gallery so that there was a platform for people, like once they step off the college thing, there's a place to land. Even if it's just like a place to explore, to meet, to talk, and to wrap it all the way back to Ali Mendoza's quote, "A blossom where you planted." You know, so I'll stop there for now.
No, I don't know. It's I'm thinking now. You've got my mind. The wheels are turning about investing, and I've seen in some places that have started to thrive because you have a huge conglomerate that won't be named, but they have a lot of warehouses here, and if they started a loan program, small business loans, micro loans, get the money to the people who are here who can be creative and invest. And there's real change that can happen to that. And I feel like there are even balloted initiatives that can be pushed to hold them accountable to things like that.
We need our city managers to then agree with those balloted.
Fine.
Yeah.
Let's get it going.
I mean, the moratorium missed it by one vote. So.
Good golly. We have a red light, but Scott, did you want to add to that?
I'm trying to pick my spot here.
Yeah.
Because I'm an institutionalist. You know, I kind of grew up in schools and churches and all that kind of stuff. And so you're talking about resources. I'm thinking, well, you know, you've got this spot, and I can provide the, you know, like that's the American way, for worse or better. You know, is that we have these things and we cobble them together. Would it be great if the government paid Maggie's salary as principal first clarinet?
Of course.
Absolutely. That's just not the current American way.
Yeah.
Could it be someday? Maybe.
Mhm.
But you got technocrats like me thinking like, okay, I could provide the facilities, and Maggie can provide the busing,
Yeah.
and then we can do.
Mhm.
You can
Fix
provide.
it.
Like that's the model for our country.
Yeah.
Not to say it has to be that way, but
Yeah.
that was where my mind was going.
Mhm.
Is Midwestern like
Yes.
Well, then let me ask
ingenuity
you
or
a
whatever.
Yeah.
question, because philanthropy and responsibility of wealth has gone in a very different direction than even 50 years ago.
Mhm.
So like there was this expectation of when you made a certain amount of
Right.
money, there was not just privilege attached to that, but there was responsibility. And it was the responsible thing to do to support the arts. It was a responsible
Mhm.
thing
Support libraries.
to support
Oh,
libraries,
God, thank you.
to put your money where your mouth is on your
Mhm.
values. And I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I feel like people are dropping the balls in rich land. And
They're not balls, they're diamonds.
They're
And they're not dropping
diamonds
any of
everywhere,
them.
Yeah.
I think that it really shows that it highlights that there's a lack of integrity.
I'd agree with that.
Mhm.
hmm
But
Where do you put your money? Where do you put it?
And so if you look at the current infrastructure bill making its way throughout, you're looking at how do you pay for it, and the current, because that's not happening, so that's when the government gets involved, right?
Mhm.
And so we propose tax increases on people who make way above all of us combined.
Mhm.
Again, that's kind of the American way.
Yeah.
Where there's a void, we kind of wait for people to take care of it on their own, and if they don't, then
Uncle Sam comes
Uncle
in.
Sam comes in and tries to come up with a better way.
Mhm. Well, I hope it works out, and I'm looking forward. And I can already, institutionally, I can already feel the lift
Oh, yeah.
from like the CARES Act and some of this government help that we are finally receiving. It's been good. It's been hopeful.
So Scott, let me tell you my social media handles.
Won't you please?
Yeah, you can find the Little Gallery at thelittlegallery.sb as well as thelittlegallerysb.com. You can find me at Andrew_K_Thompson, also at Melting Cameras and Sewn Photographs. And I'll stop there.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
You can find us at SBCUSD VAPA. That's SBCUSD VAPA. We're on Instagram, which I just discovered. It's a social media platform.
I've heard of it.
And also on Twitter.
you can actually find me on the Garcia Center for the Arts page, and I have my own separate page. But if you go there when I have classes available again, I make sure to post it at the Garcia Center's page first, and then my personal page. And our hashtag is Garcia Center Ceramics, which we started about a year, so we should be able to see projects when you look it up.
Yay! That's so great. Well, you guys can go to San Bernardino Valley's website, and it's really easy to remember all of our disciplines, music, theater, and dance, because it's just valleycollege.edu/music or valleycollege.edu/dance or valleycollege.edu/theater arts. And then we also have Insta accounts for music, theater, and dance, which are typically found at SBVC Music or SBVC Theater Arts or SBVC Dance.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the Garcia Center has their own website, and they're on Facebook and Instagram that I know of.
Okay,
Shall we do this?
let's do it, guys.
All right, ready?
Thanks for joining us. This is Just SB.